Now, we were talking, weren't we, about all the mad leftists who seem to find themselves in positions of power. There's also a lot of useful idiots who just go along with it because they're sheeple. I'd imagine that is what is going on in this particular case, where a charity has barred a disabled child from its summer camp after a row with his mother over gender-critical issues. Well, thankfully, that charity is now being referred to the Watchdog. I'm joined now by Connie Shaw, External Affairs Officer of the Free Speech Union. Great to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Alex. Lovely to be here.
I mean, what's going on here?
So this is a story that we spoke about earlier on in the week. So a mother whose son, 8 years old, extremely disabled, had been fed 100% of the time through a tube up until very recently. The end of last year, she applied for him and her to go on this trip organised by a charity called Over the Wall, which organises trips for disabled children and their parents. One of the questions on the application form was, what's your child's pronouns? Which is obviously this religious ritual that's inflicted on people, no matter what public body they seem to be interacting with these days. Now, she sent the form off. Instead of fulfilling what they want to hear, she put seriously ? Sent it off. Multiple months later, she then got a call from one of the directors of the charity asking for her to explain herself. And she said, "You cannot tell my child what to say. If he sees a girl, then he will call her what he thinks is appropriate, i.e. she, her, because that girl is female." That call ended, and moments later she got an email saying that she was not allowed to attend the camp. Both her and her son were not allowed to attend the camp due to her views not aligning with their policies. Now, the mother got in contact with the FSU. We did a subject access request. They sent all of the information back to the mother. Every bit says that it was due to her views not aligning with their policies. Now it's gone public. They've changed their tune. They've tried to claim that it was actually because of her verbal aggression on the telephone, which is a very common tactic when organisations realise that they have actually directly discriminated against someone on the basis of their gender-critical beliefs, which are protected in the Equality Act. They say it was not what you said, it's how you said it. It's the same with David Toshak, another one of our members who was sacked from his role as a prison custody officer after he said that he wouldn't call a male prisoner she, her if he said that he was a woman. We're crowdfunding for him as well still, so that he can go to the Employment Tribunal and challenge his employers. But not only their statement in the Telegraph, firstly, they start off by saying it wasn't due to her views, but then they end it by saying also our decision was influenced by the fact that there was a transgender child on this trip, and therefore they didn't want to cause any tension. So it's not about her views, but it also is about her views. They've put out another statement since it's gone public in the Telegraph, still saying that it's not about her views, even though the evidence has been laid bare for everyone to see, the information that they sent to the mother. This charity is funded by BBC Children in Need. Right. And obviously, if they're this extreme on pronouns, what happens when a mother says, "I don't want a man looking after my child intimately," when they need to be washed? What happens then? Right. Even if that man says he's a woman, I don't want him to.
But also, what happens when, first of all, these are children that we're talking about who won't necessarily understand. Like you said, if a child sees a girl, they're probably going to say she. And also one assumes that, some of these children are severely disabled physically, but they may also have some difficulties in other ways as well, where you cannot put the onus on children like that to play these silly, adult, weird, niche, leftist games. That it's just so confusing for young people.
It's yet another example of ideology being put in front of the safeguarding of the most vulnerable children who need the most suitable care. And remember when Rosie Millard, the ex-chair of BBC Children in Need, when she raised concerns about LGBT Youth Scotland, which had horrific safeguarding issues, she was thrown under the bus by this board at BBC Children in Need. She was constructively dismissed. So this is an issue that we are funding these charities. That is why we have, the FSU have written to the regulator for England and Scotland for this charity called Over the Wall, because we're arguing that they are not fulfilling their charitable objectives. They have denied the care of this child, and because of the mother's gender-critical views. So for them to continue saying that it's not due to her views, despite it's all over social media, it's all in the Telegraph, anyone can read it for their own eyes. It's extraordinary how they are happy to continue lying despite all of the evidence being available for anyone to see.
That poor wee kid. I mean, are there any other sort of charities out there that might be able to make sure this wee child gets to actually go to a summer camp?
Well, that's the thing. These charities, not like they're everywhere. They're few and far between, and so it's just absolutely heartbreaking. And the fact that the mother isn't minded at the moment to take legal action against them, even though that she could, because for her child comes first, and she wants to protect the privacy of her child. Whereas for them, politics has come first. So it will be very interesting to see what the regulator comes out with after they investigate what's going on there.
What staggers me about all of this is this went all the way up to the highest court in the land, where it was decided once and for all that biological sex is biological sex, as if we didn't know that anyway. 99.9% of the population are on board with that, and always have been. And what staggers me is still, to this day, there are universities, there are employers, there are charities still banging the drum for all of this stuff. And I just think, when are they going to give up?
I know. Or hopefully, after what's happened to Graham Linehan, the absolute ordeal that he's been put through.
Right.
I think this has broken the camel's back. This has made international
Charged tomorrow,
news.
right, Graham?
Yep.
And is he using you guys? He's going to be using the Free Speech Union?
So the FSU is supporting Graham in this trial partially because part of the trial involves online tweets. But obviously what he has been arrested for this time at Heathrow Airport by 5 armed police officers is due to 3 tweets on the internet. We are helping him sue the Met Police for wrongful arrest, wrongful imprisonment, and the fact they basically defamed him as well. Originally they said they arrested him under suspicion of inciting violence. There's no such crime in this country. That's not the terms used anymore.
Right.
But they're still using it. Now they've changed their tune and said that he's actually been arrested under suspicion of Section 3A of the Public Order Act, which, when you look at the legislation, says stirring up hatred on the basis of religion or sexual orientation. He's done neither of those things. So the police are getting very confused. Both Mark Rowley and Number 10 have been very critical, actually. More surprised. I was quite surprised,
stuck in a corner, aren't they? They've got to.
So it will be very interesting to see what happens with that as well. And anyone who wants to come and support Graham tomorrow outside Westminster Magistrates Court, please be there, because we will be there.
There you go, Connie. It's so good to have you in the studio for a change. That's amazing. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and all the hard work you and the Free Speech Union do.